Okay, so if you clicked on this video wondering what I thought about Friends, I think it's like a 10 out of 10. It's like the greatest 90s show of like all time. So if that's all only reason you clicked on this video, there you go. You can go ahead and click off. That's my thoughts on it. If you want to know why though, go ahead and stick around. So like whenever I was growing up, I used to keep it on like two channels on like cable. There was channel 21, it was TBS, and then like channel 23 and 24 for ESPN. But TBS, man, it showed like Friends, Seinfeld, King of Queens, Everyone Loves Raymond. I think there was like Tool Time as well, Home Improvement. A lot of the times I had already seen the episodes of Friends, so a lot of the twists and surprises I already knew. But I've got this thing going on where I've got a whole list of TV shows and I'm trying to lock in and actually watch every single one of them, which is kind of hard to do. But the thing is, I've never sat and watched Friends from like beginning to end all the way. So that's what I was doing. So on my list, I've got Friends first. I think I started Big Bang Theory, and I can't move on until I finish that series, and I watch like an episode or two like a day or every other day, just whenever. Okay, so that being said, I started Friends and instantly I loved it. I love old sitcoms. It makes you feel like it's just a play. It's just a set and it's a play, and they're all just acting, and they have some of the best actors on that show. I loved it so much. First scene right out of the coffee shop, you know, when Richard comes in with the wedding dress, it was just phenomenal, man. I loved just kicking back and just like watching a play and just really appreciating it for what it was. So what I'm going to do is talk about each season, a couple of the highlights through the season, and a few things that I liked about it. But like the first one, which I didn't expect, was when Joey actually hooked up Chandler with like a blind date, and it ended up being the Janice woman. That was like hilarious because I didn't know that one was happening. And you know, I can't remember if she'd done it at that time, but it was like every time you saw her in the show, she was like, oh my God. And that's usually how I felt. I was just like, oh my God, it's friggin' Janice. So that was hilarious. Marcel, the little monkey. I mean, you know, there's some funny parts with Marcel, but you know, when he had to like leave and stuff, I didn't feel very attached at all. But I don't know, it's just good for the show, I guess. But the last part, dude, whenever, I guess, it's been a while since I watched it, but I'm pretty sure this is the ending where Rachel comes in. She goes to the airport to greet Ross, and she's got like a bouquet of flowers, and Ross is like walking out with this Julie chick, and then like the season ends, and it's so aggravating to watch. It's just like, oh my God. And you're getting that through the whole thing. So it was really crazy to see. Most of that I didn't even know. You know, whenever I watched it on TBS, it was showing a lot of replays, reruns, and you know, I didn't know most of that from the first season. So it was really good. It was a great startup. So then we move on to season 2. Okay, season 2 had some iconic stuff, kind of like the Smelly Cat song that Phoebe came up with. Like, you know, if you know Friends, you know the Smelly Cat song. Like Ross and Rachel, they kind of get together for the first time, and they end up like kissing and stuff. I think that's the one where, it's funny, the one where, that's how they're titled. Anyway, that wasn't a pun unintended. The one where they're at his job and they're like laying underneath the stars and stuff. So okay, and then Monica and Richard start dating, and Richard ends up being like a big part of the show, man. I didn't realize like he's in it from like beginning to almost end, and you know, just spot starts in each of the episodes throughout the seasons. But yeah, I actually liked Richard pretty good. I thought they went together very well, but it was a little weird because, you know, he was a lot older than her, so I don't know, it was a little odd. Dude, I thought one of the funniest episodes from season 2 was where like Julia Roberts ends up stealing Chandler's clothes, and he's like stuck in that bathroom at the restaurant. But in the end, he ends up like, he's got like that door and he's like walking out and he's just like straight. It's so funny. I just think I love all of the characters. I think they're phenomenal actresses, and they all played their parts so well. The one that stood out to me was Chandler, and this was before like the whole situation, because whenever I heard like Matthew Perry had passed away, it really bothered me because I had watched the reruns, and Chandler was by far my favorite because he's got all the one-liners and things like that. So you know, after that happened, that's why it kind of moved to the top of my list of shows to watch. It's my girlfriend's favorite show of like all time, and see why. But yeah, Chandler, he cracked me up through the whole thing. He was so phenomenal. But yeah, that part with Julia Roberts was just, I don't know, dude, it was so funny. Okay, a couple other things. Lastly, like that prom video episode, like that was pretty good. And then like Rachel kind of falls for Ross right then. But then they screwed up with the list, and It was just like, dude, whatever you do, shred that or burn it or run away, anything. It was just really, stuff like that is just really aggravating to watch, because if it was me, I'd go through great lengths to keep the list away, and it was just frustrating to watching it through. So, okay, so like season 3, I loved Robin Williams growing up. I think Billy Crystal was like really funny, but like seeing them on an intro and then they just come in and just like crush it in the Friends group, it's just kind of like, they don't really know what to do or say, but like Robin Williams crushed it. Billy Crystal was just like there, like just really like going along with it, and it was like really funny. So it was really cool to see those two making a little cameo appearance. Oh, dude, the ski trip episode, like it was pretty funny, but like I remember this from the reruns, but it was so funny when I think Ross said something to Rachel, and she was like, "I'm sorry, were you talking to me or something with someone else?" And I thought that was, I don't know, it's one of the funniest lines like Rachel's had in Friends, I guess. That kind of stood out to me. I thought it was hilarious. One of the other things that stood out, I guess this is for all guys, the Princess Leia outfit. Miss Jennifer Aniston, Princess Leia, it was awesome. The 18-page letter that she freaking wrote, I thought that the whole situation of that was just hilarious, man. I think that's when they're at the beach house. It's been a little bit since I've watched it. I've been meaning to do this video, and I've been watching The Big Bang Theory, so they're kind of mashing together. But yeah, Friends, I think this is when they're at the beach house, and she writes in that big letter, I think. Anyway, he doesn't read it, and it's like he agrees to like take all the blame. No, wait, is that the same one? I can't even remember. I've got it wrote down here. I think so. I think that's the one. Okay, there was a day, what was it, Day of Fun, Joey and Janice like hanging out when Chandler was finally dating Janice. Yeah, I kind of thought, man, Chandler's like meant to be with this Janice chick, and Joey friggin' hated her. Even that Day of Fun, like, dude, he couldn't get around to like just liking her, but it was like, you know, it was pretty cool because he was like, dude, if you like her, then be with her. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I understand Joey. I see where he's coming from. But give her credit to her. She's a phenomenal actress, and she killed that role. She was so funny. Okay, yeah, I thought it was in the 18-page letter that she wrote. Ross and Rachel went on a break. It was a whole situation. I do think they officially were broken, like basically broken up. I do think he still screwed up. He shouldn't have done that. But like, and it was wild seeing him go like place to place to place, trying to like cover his tracks. And then finally Gunther, of all people, is the one that told her, and he like turns around and there she is. But, and then the big 18-page letter and all of this, yeah, was after that, right? I've kind of got this mixed up a little bit. But anyway, yeah, that's when the big breakup happens. We're on a break. And then lastly, whenever they're breaking up, he's got that Frankie Save Relax t-shirt. I want to get one of those and like wear it to the New York thing. I want to take Sarah to the New York thing, Friends thing. That would be really cool. I'd like to go to it personally, but I know she'd be like blown away. So one of these days, I'm going to make it happen. Okay, so season 4, this is the one where Ross, he's like playing that piano, like really creepy, and it's just like, it's really stupid, but it's funny, and it kind of stood out. The one where Chandler is like in that box for Joey, but the funniest thing about it was like he knocks, like you hear a knock at the door, and you know, I was thinking someone's about to walk in the door, and then Chandler's like, gotcha, you know, and it was actually him in that box. It was just hilarious because that was really unexpected. But he was staying in that box because I think he fell in love with that girl that like Joey was like dating or whatever. He got her that book about that rabbits and stuff like that. So this season is actually the one where Chandler and Monica hooked up. Now I wish I had never even heard of this show before and just watched it all the way through. I knew this from the reruns that they ended up getting together, but the way it happened and the crowd goes like crazy, man, when they find out they're like getting together, it was so phenomenal. And Chandler and Monica just really make it work, and they were like great together. They were really cool. I think this was the season when she does the 7 thing. It was like hilarious. So anytime you think of 7, you're a Friends fan, you're just like, you know, one of the greatest episodes, I think, of the whole series was the trivia game that they all play, and Ross is like the host, and they're playing for the apartment. It's like the greatest thing. And then whenever they lose, the girls are like, no, and they actually have to move, and the guys have the apartment. That was like so phenomenal. That was one of my favorite. That's top 5. It may be top 3. It could be the number 1. I don't know. It's one of the best. It is right up there. But then the season ends with Ross saying, hold on, let me check this. Yeah, because I wrote this down so I could kind of remember September. Yeah, he's getting married to friggin' Emily. Who likes Emily? I'll give her credit. She's a great actress, but the character Emily, no one liked her. I don't think. If they're getting married, Rachel shows up, and then he friggin' says Rachel's name at the wedding, and it goes off. I can't imagine this, like, being my age now and watching Friends back then and, like, having to wait, like, I think they started their seasons in September, and it went until May. It ran until May or something like that. So they took, like, the whole summer off. I can't even imagine that ending, and then you're just like, oh my God, what happened next? Like, and you're just waiting with anticipation. Like, no wonder Friends had such good twists, and the build-up and anticipations are just, like, phenomenal with the show. Season 5 is really good. Everyone finds out about Chandler and Monica, and Sarah's actually got this t-shirt. Sarah, my girlfriend, actually has this t-shirt, and it was like, they don't know that we know that they know that we know, or something like that. And that's a really good episode, where that's one of my top ones too, where Phoebe's like testing Chandler to see if he'll cave, and finally he does. But like, that's a really good episode. This one, Ross and Rachel get married in Vegas, and this one they're like drawing I can't remember, I think it happens before. He like draws a mustache on her or something. Anyway, they get just completely hammered, and Chandler and Monica are like going to get married, and then Ross and Rachel bust through the door and friggin' surprise them, like, what in the world, man? And they got married. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. And Ross is an idiot. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get divorced. He's like, I'm not going to. I was just like, dude, the stuff he does throughout he's so funny, man. The stuff he does throughout the show is so stupid, but he's really funny. He's such a funny actor. Oh yeah, okay, speaking of him being a funny actor, dude, this is the season where he has the leather pants. He's at that chick's house, and he has those leather pants, and he's like, he puts the baby powder on. He like calls Joey. He's like, hey man, what do I do? He's like, put baby powder on him. He's like sprinkling, and he's like trying to lift him up, and he can't, and he's like, oh, and he like smacks himself in the head. I don't know, dude. It just I just crack up just thinking about it, because it's like really funny. Eventually I'm gonna go back and rewatch all of this, but that was like one of the funniest parts, dude. I couldn't quit laughing like whenever I seen it. Phoebe has triplets for her brother. I don't know, man. Phoebe's such an odd character to me, like completely. Her storyline's kind of weird, but having triplets for her brother, I don't know. It's just so odd. I give credit to Lisa Kudrow. She crushed the role, but the Phoebe character is a little odd, but she's great. She fits in perfectly. So this is actually before Chandler and Monica get busted. This is the one where he, like, just out of habit gives Monica a kiss, and then Rachel and Phoebe are like, so he realizes what he's done. He has to go around and give them all a kiss, and then Monica's like, yeah, I think it's some kind of like European like tradition he does now or something. Last couple of things. This is actually where Ross, he moves in with Chandler and Joey, and he's doing that like thing. I'm gonna do that to my kid. Like, he's like loud on Fortnite, and I'm gonna be like, hey man, like bring it down a notch. I don't know. It's just funny. And then, of course, this is the iconic, like, pivot episode when they're trying to get that couch up there. That was really funny. I thought it was as funny as, like, everyone makes it out to be. I hadn't seen it in forever. So, no, it had been, like, I was probably in high school. Oh, dude, I'm 36 now, so I was probably in high school when I watched this stuff on reruns. It was still good, man. It was still as great as I had remembered. Season 6, a couple things right off the bat. Unagi. Did he do this? Unagi? I can't remember, but he's like sneaking up on the girls, but he's like asking that instructor, he's like, you know, how he can sneak up on like 2 girls, and then he's like in that apartment, and dude, I didn't expect it at all, but they're like hiding behind the curtains. I think maybe it's just Rachel. I thought it was Rachel and Phoebe. I can't remember. I have to go back and see, but they're like hiding behind the curtains. They jump out and surprise him. That was great. This one, I think, is it a New Year's dance party or something? And they're like trying to get on like TV, and then Ross and Monica come up with like, oh my God, we need to do the routine. And dude, it was like really funny. I told Sarah, my girlfriend, we need to do the routine and like upload it to YouTube, but yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Oh man, this is the one where Bruce Willis was actually on the show, dude, and he plays like a big role in it, but like Rachel's like dating him, and then it's funny, man, because it's really odd, but like his daughter and Ross are like at the cabin, I want to say, and then Bruce Willis and Rachel show up, man, and Ross is like hiding under the bed, and he's like in the mirror, and he's like, you're a neat guy. you're a neat guy. And then like Ross like calls him a neat guy, and he knows like something's up. So, but Rachel ends up like dumping him because he starts crying. Like she asks about his life, and he starts like crying and stuff. It's the whole thing. But Bruce Willis was like great in anything he's ever been in. Bruce Willis is the man. I just thought it was a little odd, Ross dating that girl. She was like, you could tell she was just like way too young for him. And then he does that spring break thing. I can't remember. I don't know if that's the same season, but it was pretty funny. Like they're like, look who it is, and it's like on TV. And it's like Ross getting out there. And then Ross's teeth. When that girl turns out, I do remember that on the reruns, but that girl turns out the lights. He's like, he's just like all white teeth, you know. Okay, season 7. What we got? 4 more to go. Season 7. Monica and Chandler get married. That was pretty cool. Monica, I guess it was in the last season. I can't remember. But she ends up proposing to Chandler. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was a season 4. I can't remember. So Rachel finds out she's pregnant, not Monica. I knew that Rachel ended up getting pregnant and has a baby. What's her name? Emily. I didn't know how they done it because I was like, they thought it was Monica's pregnancy test, I think it was. And I was like, oh, I don't think that's Monica's. I think that's Rachel's. But I knew that because of the reruns. But see, I can imagine, like, you know, if I didn't know that twist before. Joey, okay, the silly putty at the audition. Dude, it's got that camera shot where it's like, at his feet, and you see the like the was I don't want to say judges, but the people doing the I don't know, the audition or whatever. But the putty falls down in front of the camera. I don't know. That was hilarious, man. I busted out laughing. It was just funny. I do remember that on the reruns stuff. There's a lot of stuff that got ruined, but it was funny seeing it the second time around. Rachel, Ben, and Ross, they do like a little prank war. That was pretty funny. You got the line going. I remember doing that in like middle school. But you put that pencil lead on the quarter and you're like, run that down. They got a big streak. You don't tell them, it's like there all day. Rachel and Tag was like dating. I think that was a pretty good little couple, but you know, you want to see Ross and Rachel end up together. Oh, okay, so Rachel breaks Joey's chair, and then I think I can't remember. Was it Chandler? He like gives him his chair, swaps them or something. And then Joey's just like, oh my God, she's alive. And Rachel's like, how in the world? Like, because they ended up ordering a new one. But I don't know. It was just funny. Winona Ryder was in this show, and then she was like Rachel's kiss. But it was funny because I didn't remember this from the reruns, but because Rachel was like, yeah, remember we like kissed or whatever, and she was just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, like whatever. And I think it's Phoebe. She's like, see, like, you know, whatever. I didn't believe you. And then she walks off, and then Winona Ryder is like, oh my God, I've been dreaming about that night for like ever. Like, can we be together or something? I don't know. And Rachel's just like, no, we're not gonna be together. Chandler. Okay, Chandler's bad smile. That's I've seen memes about it before. That's exactly how my kid smiles. He's like, I'm like, smile. He's like, I am. Like, it's cute. But when Chandler's doing it, you're like, you're gonna have to work on that. Season 8, man, the backpacking in Europe episode was like so funny because they're trying to figure out how Ross and Rachel ended up like getting together, and it was actually videotaped. But then Rachel was like, have I ever told you about that time I went backpacking in Europe? And Ross was just like instantly like he knew. That was funny. Like a full circle joke coming back around. Probably the best one of the whole show that I can think of. That was really good. Oh man, the Brad Pitt episode it's one of my top ones. The I Hate Rachel Club. And she was like, look at him with that smoldering look or something like that. He's like, I hate you. She's like, you know, like, she's so, I don't know, like, she's so, like, naive. She's like, okay, I wrote this down. Let me read it off. Rachel has her baby. Janice shows up. Chandler and Monica try for a baby. Joey accidentally proposes. It's like a 2-part episode special. Wasn't a whole lot that kind of transpired from that. It was just more of a, oh, this happened, and then we're just going to go on and make other episodes. But the whole fact of all of this happening all at once, it was like, it was pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. And Janice, like, anytime Janice shows up, it's just funny. Halloween episode, everyone's costumes, they were pretty funny. I think this is the one where Spudnik, the Ross one, when he's that big potato or what, Spudnik, I don't know. It's funny. Okay, a couple of other ones. The Ross, okay, this one I didn't know, but Ross was like, hey, that's where I left my sweater. And then it took me like a split second. I was just like, oh, yeah, like, dude, it was crazy. Like, I knew how everything transpired and how it ends. Like, I knew the ending of Friends and everything, so that kind of stinks. But seeing some of this stuff happening in real time as you're watching it through is pretty neat. And then the stripper episode with, like, Danny DeVito was, like, so funny. That's, like, one of the top ones. It's hilarious. Okay, so like season 9, Christina Applegate is actually Ross's sister. That was pretty cool. Oh man, Ross and Mike hanging out. Dude, it was just like, I've been in those situations. I'm an introvert, man. I'm an introvert, and dude, seeing them like hang out together and you don't have anything to talk about. Unless somebody's got fantasy football or sports to talk about, I'm just like, I don't know. If I can't say, how about that game last night? I'm just like, I look like Mike and Ross sitting there, like not talking to each other. Chandler moving to Tulsa. That actually surprised me, but he was only gone for like a couple episodes. And I think he was, Matthew Perry was like dealing with some stuff, but he ended up coming back very quickly, and I'm glad he wasn't gone for long. Talking about a full circle like joke, Ross talking about getting beat up when he was like a kid, but it turns out like Phoebe was the one on the streets that beat up Ross and like took something from him. That was a pretty good, like, full circle joke. So, oh, the male nanny, Freddie Prinze Jr. Dude, Freddie Prinze Jr. was the man, like, back in the 90s. And to see him, like, have a big role on an episode of Friends, it was pretty funny. And he was, like, a male nanny that was, like, very sincere. And Ross didn't like him at all. That was hilarious. One of the big twists that kind of threw me off, maybe the season ends this way, but, like, Joey's having a party. Ross brings Charlie to the party. But then at the end of the episode, Joey and Charlie are like hooking up, and they don't go together at all, obviously. But I didn't know that one. That one blew my mind. I was texting Sarah like, oh my God, like Joey and Charlie just got together. Like, it was crazy. Okay, so like the first fertility test, they like called, and Matthew Perry was like, should I be sitting down for this? Like, like cracking jokes like he always does. And he gets like really serious. Just phenomenal acting by Matthew Perry. I think that was the best acting of the whole show. But I'm a little biased because Chandler's my favorite character. So I think it was the best acting of the entire thing. I loved it. But it was kind of sad. But it was kind of neat how everything transpired after that. Lottery tickets. That was pretty funny because I think Phoebe ended up like throwing them all off the balcony. No, they blew away. She was like threatening and then blew away, I think. I can't even remember. Lastly, one really good episode. I really love ping pong. And dude, when Mike and Monica were like going at it, and Chandler was like, oh my God, there's 2 of them. Like, it was really funny. And she's just like, like wiping the sweat, hair's all buzzed out. Chandler's just like, he's like, oh, I've never seen you more attractive. I don't know, he said something like that. But dude, it was like so funny. They're just like battling it out, pouring the sweat. It was like great. Okay, sadly, season 10, I actually really hated to see it come to a close. And as you can tell, like as you're watching season 10, you can see everything just kind of closing in. It's coming to an end, and really bothered me. It made me sad. I can't imagine watching it like, all of those years and the anticipation of this is going to be the last season, and then watching it weekly, and I was just binge watching it, and you're just kind of seeing the walls close in. It was just, I don't know, man, it was just kind of sad. Okay, so I hit a few of the highlights of season 10, and then we'll just talk about the ending. Ross's spray tan, that's actually, dude, that's iconic. It was hilarious, and I've shown that to my kid, the little clip like on YouTube of him getting a spray tan. He didn't laugh as much as I thought he might, but I think it's hilarious. Like I said, Ross, anytime he's on camera, dude, he's so funny, but some of the stupid stuff he does is that's what's so funny. This one says Danny DeVito stripper. Was that not in, what stripper? Oh, the last one, that other season, the stripper one was when they tried to Joey accidentally hired a stripper or something. I can't even remember. And they were like, that's what that was. Danny DeVito's in season 10. I got that mixed up. I'm not going back to edit that. I'm just piecing it all together. Correct me in the comments. Oh yeah, Chandler. Okay, dude, he tells that kid he's been adopted. What the? Oh, dude. That was funny. He was like, wait, what? It was funny. Phoebe's wedding in the snow, that was like really great. And she ends up with like Paul Rudd. It was pretty cool. I did like the last guy. What was his name? David? I may have had the name wrong. I did like both of those characters for Phoebe. It was pretty neat. She ended up with Paul Rudd though. Oh, the dirty birthday cake. Like they put Emma's face on a dirty birthday cake. I'll just leave it at that. Joey doesn't share food. Actually, okay, I do that too. Mine's for a different reason. Okay, so I have celiac disease. We buy gluten-free food. Very expensive. So if we've got gluten-free bread, we've got regular bread. And then my kids want to eat a bite of gluten-free bread. I'm like, no, I'm not sharing my food. I know it sounds really rude and stingy, but here's the thing. They can eat both of them. I can only eat one. So if they eat up all my bread, they can still eat theirs. I can eat theirs. So like I remember this happened a few times, probably 3 or 4 times. I'd get a gluten-free pizza from Domino's. It'd be $37 for a small, basically. And then somebody's like, hey, can I try a slice of that? I'd be like, no, sorry. And I'm pretty sure they thought I was the most rude person ever. I'm like, no, sorry, like, this is all I can have. If you want a pizza, you can get your own. Like, I know it's kind of a jerkish thing, but I understand where Joey's coming from, at least. He didn't have that problem, but I do, so that's why I don't share my food. Estelle passes away. That was one of the things I was actually talking about with everything kind of coming to a close. Estelle passed away. Oh, Princess, what was her name? Princess Consuela? And then Crap Bag. My girlfriend actually has a friend's blanket, and it has all kinds of like the sayings and just iconic stuff from the show. And one part actually says like Crap Bag on it. Oh, dude. Okay, Erica. Man, it's Anna Faris. Speaking of, actually, real quick, all of these cameo appearances are phenomenal. I love them. Really early in the Friends series, Leah Remini? I'm going to say Remini. Leah Remini, Carrie from King of Queens, she was actually in that. I heard she was cast for one of the spots in Friends, but she didn't take it for a bigger role for King of Queens. And I think the casting's like perfect for both of them. King of Queens is my all-time favorite show. And she's perfect for Carrie. And like Doug, Kevin James for Doug Heffernan. But it was really neat. I guess I knew that, seeing her in it, but seeing her in it was like really cool because I'm a huge King of Queens fan. But Anna Faris was in this, and then she had twins, man. And it sucks because I knew she had twins, and then they surprised, the audience with like twins, and they were like, "Did you not know you were having twins?" She was like, "Yeah, they told me," or she said no, but they told me I had 2 heartbeats. We're good. And she was like, "Oh, well, that's good because I thought it was mine and the baby's," and I thought that's good because I'm having a baby. But I don't know. She's funny in anything she's cast in, so it was really cool to see her in that. Okay, let's end this. The very last Friends, the way it ended, I thought it was phenomenal. I'm glad Ross and Rachel ended up together. It was pretty neat because she didn't tell him bye, and she was just tore up. She couldn't tell him bye because she was just like, well, she was still in love with him. Comes home, listens to the message, and she was like, "I gotta get off the plane." And he's like, "Get off the plane." And he like turns to like go get her, I guess, go out the door, and there she's standing. She's like, "I got off the plane." And it was just like, it's iconic, man. It's so cool. But it was great to see, like, they ended it perfectly at the right time and everything, and it was really good. And that's why it's held strong for so long. But compared to like, How I Met Your Mother, I invested so much time into that show whenever I was in college. I watched it beginning to end. One of my buddies, it's his all-time favorite show. I watched it, and then it took one episode to tear it all down. I don't want to ruin anything for you. That's just the way I felt about it. Maybe you'd feel different. So if you haven't watched How I Met Your Mother, go ahead and give it a watch. Friends, not like that at all. I loved Friends. It's a 10 out of 10. I thought it was phenomenal. So that's kind of my take on it. A little too long of a video. If you got some funny stuff you want to comment or, whatever, or reminisce about, I got to do a thumbnail. Maybe I'll get here and like point. That'll work. Okay, we'll smile here like. And I'll just put like the Friends logo there. Anyway, if you check out this video, I greatly appreciate it. Be sure to drop a comment on some of your favorite Friends, like episodes or one-liners. Chandler one-liners would be great. And yeah, thanks for checking out the video, especially if you made it this far. Dude, if you made it this far, you're freaking phenomenal. I greatly appreciate you. And I greatly appreciate you more than you'll ever know. This is phenomenal. It takes a lot to get on camera and just sit here and yap about a TV show, but I did it. And I'm pretty proud. It took a lot out of me. So I appreciate it if you made it this far. And if you did, comment below and let me know. All right, thanks.